I don't even know what to say. Randy pretending to read the Hunger Games. Who would have thought?
I'm sorry. I didn't notice you guys were here.
I
How
thought
are you?
if it was a comic book, it would be a whole different thing because it had pictures. But anyway,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
hey, welcome to River City Media's. Uh,
Louis Moffitt's game.
yeah, I've done too many shows this week, guys. Welcome to It's Still Real to Us. Howard Cheney, the host of River City Media, with the founder of River City Media, QB1, and our weekly guest, Mr. Joseph Hughes of Rabbit Beaver. Rabbit Beaver, are you feeling better from last night?
I feel a lot better from last night. Had a little sickness spill. Don't know what happened there, but got it taken care of, and I'm feeling a lot better, hydrated better, feel better. Not a bad headache today. Stomach's not woozy today. Just moving a lot better. So a lot better today.
Awesome. Now if we just get you looking better, it'll be a whole
I
better.
know. I'm ugly as crap. I'm uglier than QB1 some days.
That ain't saying much.
Yeah. Well, anyway, hey, our special guest tonight is Dan Jones from Net Pro Studios. Mr. Dan Jones, thanks for joining us tonight.
No problem, guys. I'm happy to be here.
Well, we're glad to have you. And we'll just go ahead and let everybody know. We hear some background noise, but you're at your place of training everybody, and so you're going to. You told us that, hey, if I'm looking off to the right, it's because I'm watching people being trained, and so you're actually going to have
literally, if I look this way, I'm actually watching something going on in the ring. So,
hey, I gotta bring it. Are you at Beautiful Body Be Eating Arena?
Yeah, yes, we are.
That's the greatest name in the history of wrestling.
Absolutely. That's why we did it.
But yeah. We appreciate you being on, and it's most people that we have on our other shows is kind of periodically they're very busy, but the wrestling season is year round, 24/7, 365 basically. So when do you get some time away from all this stuff?
I don't. That's the simple answer. I do have an 8 to 5 job that actually allows me to carry my phone around with me, which is almost unheard of these days. But I carry my personal phone on me 24/7, and carry the work phone on me from 8 to 5. And I do my work, I get done with it, and then at 5 o'clock I sign out of work, and I come in here and we start training sessions and everything. So we stayed open 5 days a week for the past 4 years. And
so at 5:01, that work phone has disappeared until 8 the next morning.
Yes, it is. So they were my shoot job was paying me to be on call. So at one point I was carrying my work phone in here to a certain extent and would answer calls in here, but they stopped paying me to be on call, and that's when I told them, well, I'm not going to carry that work phone in here anymore. That's the way that works. So, that's the thing is like I carry my personal phone on me 24/7, so I'm always available to answer questions that are thrown at the Net Pro Studios email or the Net Pro Studios Facebook page and everything. And we get a lot of them. We get people looking for training. We get people looking for shows. We get people wanting to book shows. We get people wanting ring rentals, cage rentals. You name it. I'm answering questions 24/7 about it for like the past, 3-4 years now. And I do. I've got one weekend off this month, and I'm using it. My birthday is March 25th. I'm turning 48, and I'm using it that weekend to go home to Memphis and visit my parents. I haven't been home in probably 2 years to Memphis. And I'm going home to Memphis for the first time in a couple of years now, and that includes Thanksgiving and Christmas. I have not been home in about 2 years, and every now and then you got to go home and you got to see the parents and everything. So family's important. So I'm going to make that trip on March 26th. I'm going to go home and see my family.
So you got people training there right now. Let me ask.
Right now, you probably hear all kinds of background noise happening right now. You're probably going to hear some bumping and some hollering and all kinds of stuff going on in the background. So yeah, actively training Dan, right now.
They're usually used to hearing me eat during the background. So,
so Dan, what's the youngest age person that you have and the oldest person that you have training in your?
The youngest age person I have, and I'm actually very proud of him. His name's Logan. He's 15 years old, and his parents, came in and signed off on the waiver and everything. We do a lot of advertising that it's 18 and up, and I do that for a reason. I want adults. I had previous experience with, kids wrestling, and it was, 13-year-old kids. And it was a bad experience, honestly. And it wasn't so much the kids, it was the parents. The parents thought they should be wrestling, the heavyweight champion of the promotion. And I was like, you want me to go out there and put a 13-year-old kid in with a 27-year-old kid and have him killed in 5 seconds? Because I'll do it. Because it didn't make any sense, and that was the worst thing, was the parents were the ones that were the hardest to deal with. So, but the youngest I've got, and I did a full explanation to him about what was going to happen. It's Logan. His name is about 15 years old, and he came to me with asthma. Okay. He came to me with asthma and all kinds of health issues. And here we are, probably, I want to say 6 or 7 or maybe 8 months in to his training, and he's in the best shape of his life.
Yeah.
He's had maybe one asthma attack the entire time he's been in here. And he goes through all the cardio drills. I'm teaching him to wrestle. Right now, he is a sound guy and a referee for me. And he's actually, probably in the last month, just started refereeing for me. And I've been putting him on my shows, on my student showcase shows, and I've been putting him sometimes on Innovate as well, on a pre-show. He's been doing sound a lot for me as well. And he just turned 16 probably a month ago. So that's the youngest that I've got. The oldest I've got is, and I'm probably going to get the age wrong, I want to say he's 50 years old, and he's a Marine. He's a former Marine, and he's actually a personal trainer, and he has offered free personal training to all of my guys, and some of my guys have taken him up on it, and some of my guys are getting in even better shape than what they were before. We were already doing ring cardio and stuff with them in here, and he's taking them to the gym. He's working on diet plans with them. He's doing all kinds of stuff. His name's Greg Moya, and he's a former CrossFit trainer. He had a CrossFit gym down in I believe Miami, and moved up here with his family to Tennessee, and just as everything in the wrestling business goes, you cross paths with people, and it's just happenstance that he fills the void. So, and he filled a void that we needed in a personal trainer, and he's been a friend to these guys. Excuse me. He's been a friend to these guys as well as a personal trainer and a workout partner and just all kinds of stuff, and as well as getting in the ring and going through the motions to be a pro wrestler as well. So.
Oh, that's awesome, Joseph. I
Yeah.
thought I had a chance there when he said 50, but then when he said Marine and a trainer, I'm like, well,
I got a couple of Marines in here, man. I got a couple of Marines that'll knock your socks off in here.
I'm 51, so I thought, well, 50, I might have a chance, but the only shape I'm in is round, and that don't do you very well. So, Joseph,
round is his shape. Round is his shape. I'm still round.
And you pulled off a 60-minute Ironman match here recently.
It's 60 minutes. 60 minutes plus 3 minutes of a sudden death overtime at the end, because we were evened up 3-3 at the end, and we did a 5-minute sudden death overtime, and it was me and Xander Hendricks, and man, there's a story behind that. Would you like to hear that?
Yeah,
I got stories for days, guys. If I start rambling, just tell me to shut up. But so the very first trainer I ever had was Nightmare Ken Wayne. I started at Nightmare Ken Wayne's over in West Memphis, Arkansas, 17 years ago. And to graduate his school, you had to wrestle for an hour. That's what you had to do. And I made it to 45 minutes, but I did not make the hour. I never got the hour. His school shut down, and the guy that I was going to go an hour with moved to Texas. He took a job with the National Guard in Texas. And so I never got a chance to do that hour. I did 45 minutes, and the next step after 45 minutes was the hour. And me and my buddy Kevin, who were doing the 45 minutes, we looked at each other at the end of 45 minutes, and we were like, we can do the hour, but Ken wouldn't allow it, and it is what it is. So 17 years later, I got to do an hour with the very first student of NetPro to ever walk in the door, and that was Xander Hendricks. And so meant a lot to me, meant a lot to him, emotionally, physically, everything. I was spent at the end of that. And then we wrestled while the people were actually coming in for Innovate. So we were the whole pre-show. Like as soon as they opened doors, we started wrestling, and then people were coming in, and they realized what was happening as we were going. So it was like, what's going on? It was like, oh, there's a timer up on the screen. Oh my God, what's and oh, he just got a pin, but the match isn't over. Oh wait, this is an Iron Man match. Oh my gosh, So it as people go through the realization of what's happening and everything, more and more people started getting into what we were doing, and by the time the show started, the crowd was up. The crowd was up, and we got a good round of applause at the end of it. And doing that hour though, it closed a chapter for me. It did. It really closed a chapter for me that had been needed to be closed for 17 years. So and then
Dan, you actually had the time where everybody could watch it. So there was no skimming.
No skimming at all.
Like they do.
We took about every pinfall we did about a 30-second timeout to get to your corner, and that's it. It's like we waited till we were standing up in the corners. We did about a 30-second to 45-second timeout, and it was return to your corner and get back to your feet. Is basically the rule we had, but we did not go more than 45 seconds getting back to our feet. So and we had the timer up on the screen because I wanted that timer. I wanted that hour so bad. I was like, this is going to happen. And so that's what's so funny is like, we did 30 minutes. Okay. We built it up. We did a 15-minute draw. Then we did a 20-minute draw, and then we did a 30-minute draw. And those were all on student showcases. And then once we got the 30-minute draw, that's when you realize is like, oh man, I think we can reach the hour. I think the hour is within reach, and then I started to go, maybe we do a 45. And I was like, nah, the hell with the 45. We're doing an hour. We're doing an hour now because I think we can do the hour. So, and that was the thing too, is like the psychology of it too, is like we stayed together. We did not call a thing for the hour, by the way, either. It's just like a lot of guys go in the back and they'll map out an entire match. We knew some of what we wanted to do. We didn't know when we wanted to do it. We just knew there was a right time to do it, and we would call it. And there was a few things we had called before we got in the ring, but once we got in the ring and we started going, we stayed together shoot wrestling for 30 minutes. And then after the 30 minutes, that's when you got into the psychology of, okay, we got to do something to pin each other. And then we went from there and did that. So it was, and my parents were here, and my dad made a point to come and tell me, you could not have done any better than what you did to do that match for an hour. So that one, to have my dad watch me for an hour literally and go, that couldn't have been any better than what it was. You were fantastic. And I was just like, oh, okay.
I put a hat on to literally take a hat off to you for wrestling for an hour solid.
Yeah. And then we were tied at the end. And then we went into sudden death, and all we did was pin sequences for solid 2 to 3 minutes and trying to get a pin. And then Xander wound up on top of me in a small package. And it was really funny because like I don't know if he knew it, but he was kind of in and out with me a lot when we were in the ring and everything. But we got to the end and it was like we'd given each other a suplex and we were just laying there, head on each other's shoulders, and he was laying and kind of looked over at me and goes, "What just happened?" And I was like, "Well, you beat me." and he goes, "No." He's literally like, "No. I was like, "Yeah, you beat me." So yeah, it was physical and it was fun. It was fun to go through. And like I said, I'd been needing it for 17 plus years. I've been needing that match. So it was really, like I said, it was closing a chapter to get there, and I needed it.
Well, Dan, you run a very successful business at Net Pro Studios LLC, and there's a whole story behind how you got to where you're at, including working for a lot of big promotions, working for a lot of small promotions, and being what I like to call the hardest working man in professional wrestling, because you do so much for everybody. And if anybody is out there watching, if you need somebody to help you do ring work, do announcing, help you set up a ring, help you tear down a ring, rent a ring, this man will do it for you. Daniel Jones is all over the place with most of the bigger promotions. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but you help Pro Wrestling Symphony, CCW, you help Innovate. I mean, you're all over the place in professional wrestling in East Tennessee, right?
We haven't done anything with CCW yet. I think a lot of the guys, I think where that gets crossed up is a lot of the guys that work for NWA JCP have crossed over to CCW. So yeah, I personally have not done any work with CCW. I wouldn't mind working for them. But NWA JCP, I've been working with them for the past 2 years. I've done a lot of work for the NWA main roster too, hauling the cage that we have here over to Dothan, Alabama twice because they had cage matches in Dothan, Alabama that they wanted the ring for. Or excuse me, they had cage matches that they wanted the cage for.
Speaking of that, I hate to interrupt you here, but you have some special trainers that were inside of those cage matches that come and help out Net Pro Studios, right?
Oh yes, sir. We've got Crazy Steve from TNA Wrestling. He's been over here plenty. He lives about 10 to 15 minutes from the school, and he'll just call me up and say, "Hey, I'm coming in to run training. I want to run training today." And I said, "Okay." So he's been a friend of mine for about 7 or 8 years plus. So yeah, I've gotten to know Steve personally. He's a great guy. Currently doesn't have a contract, but I don't think he won't. I'd like to think he wouldn't have a contract for long. But sometimes it is what it is. So, but wrestling business being fickle as it is, sometimes that's what it is. So, but got Ricky Morton, WWE Hall of Famer Ricky Morton's been coming in every 2 weeks and running Wednesday sessions with us. I mean, need I say more?
Right.
So, it's been a long road getting here, building the reputation that I have and being able to stand on my own 2 feet and everything. And, part of that is realizing that your way is not the only way. I have other people in here training because I'm not the only one, I'm not the only one that should be training. They should be getting all experience from all different levels and all different, sides of pro wrestling, like, Steve can provide and like what Ricky can provide as well, because they see stuff I don't. So.
QB, go ahead, buddy.
Hey, I just want to make the point. That's Ricky Morton inside a beautiful Bobby Eaton arena. That's about as historic as you get.
He makes a point of trying to take a picture with that banner in the background every single time because he loves being here. He loves the fact that we named it after Bobby. Bobby was one of his best friends next to Robert. Bobby was literally one of his best friends in the business. So yeah,
one of the great guys of the business too. And I mean, I was around him enough to know that he was genuine.
One of the not just one of the best people I've ever met in the wrestling business, but one of the best people I've ever met in my life. Literally. I mean, I got to wrestle him at one of Ken's shows in West Memphis, Arkansas, and I wound up pinning Bobby Eaton. And it just ever since that, he did not have to do that. He did not have to put me over like that. And so ever since then, I've always made a point when I saw him to get a hug from him, and he remembered me. He knew exactly who I was every time he saw me, and I never forgot that. I never forgot that. It was like
Bobby
I was.
always knew where to eat too, Dan. He always.
Oh
knew
yeah.
Hey,
But
the
yeah,
question I have is, did he give you some candy out of his bag afterward? Because he always
no.
had the penny candy in it. So
I did. I worked a car show in Florida about 6 or 7 years ago, and Bobby was on that card, and I was kind of like skeptical if he would remember me or not, and came down in the elevator, went into the lobby of the hotel, and Bobby was sitting there eating an omelet from the hotel breakfast bar, and he saw me, he got up and immediately came over and gave me a hug, and I was like, he remembers me. Oh.
made your
So
day, I
yeah,
bet.
oh, no, every time I saw Bobby, it made my day. So
Well, let's dig into that tie to Memphis. Is that where your first influence in wrestling come? Because Memphis was the crown jewel. Well, I guess Atlanta and the Omni, and then
mhm.
Memphis and the Coliseum were two of the biggest places me getting growing up in the wrestling industry. Were you a fan of the old Mid South and grew up on Jarrett?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was a fan all the way. The CWA days into the USWA days into the Power Pro days. I got to see a lot of stuff live happen on Channel 5 at 11 a.m. Every Saturday morning. It was like going to church. You didn't miss Channel 5 wrestling on 11 o'clock on Saturday mornings. And then Power, the CWA evolved into USWA, and then USWA evolved into Power Pro eventually, and then took off from there. And then people have been trying to revive it and everything a lot, and some people have been successful in reviving it, some people not so much successful. Um, I actually worked for Jerry Lawler at one point trying to revive a television show, because he would every now and then he would try to record some pilots and send them off to TV studios and try to get something going with the TV studios again, but nobody wanted to do anything with TV, and everybody wanted to put TV on and make it cost a fortune. So that was the whole thing about those Saturday morning time slots. Is even the Sunday morning time slots, the churches are paying a fortune for.
Yeah,
You can't get on TV like that anymore. So, but now you're in an era where you're either on cable TV, or you're on YouTube, or you're on
absolutely.
streaming, or you're on Roku, or you're on somewhere. The network TV people have kind of given up on the network TV stuff. So, but
I'm a
yes, I
little
started watching Memphis. Sorry, I did start watching Memphis. But my initial introduction to wrestling was Saturday Night's Main Event. It was back in probably early '80s, and I might even get the time frame wrong, but it was during the Hulk Hogan Earthquake feud, because
ooh, nice.
I specifically remember Hulk Hogan and Earthquake going at it and trying to promote a pay-per-view, and that was, oh, there you go. But yeah, I specifically remember Hulk Hogan and Earthquake going at it, and promoting a pay-per-view for it and everything, I think it was a SummerSlam. But I specifically remember that because, like, everybody remembers, is like after 10:30 p.m. in Central Standard Time, Saturday Night Live would come on. Saturday
Hmm.
Night Live would come on, and you'd watch Saturday Night Live and everything. And I loved watching Saturday Night Live. That was back when Saturday Night Live was real funny,
Real.
because you had the original cast of Saturday Night Live. Well, Saturday Night Live has been preempted tonight for WWF Saturday Night's Main Event. What is this? And then I start watching, and here comes Macho Man, and here comes Hogan, and here comes all these colorful characters, and I'm like, holy crap, this is awesome. And I'm like 10, 12, 13 years old, and that's what started the passion. That's what started my love. And then that evolved into, where can I see more? And then I found out, it was like, here's all this pro wrestling that's on Channel 5 every morning on Saturday mornings and everything. And so my grandfather, that's what's really funny, is like my grandfather watched Channel 5 wrestling, and that was his, come hell or high water. He was glued to the television every Saturday morning, and my grandmother would make me take a bath during that time, because it was just like, I don't want him watching wrestling. So yeah, sorry, Grandma. I kind of took that and ran with it.
Hey, I'm a little bit older, and I grew up actually when Gula still owned Memphis before Jarrett broke away. So that's the way I
Hmm.
grew up too. And of
Yeah.
course, we have a great friend of the show who's is still in Memphis, Walker 13, who goes by the Memphis Made Monster, which I think is
Hmm.
the greatest name ever. But Memphis really did. I know you're in the East Tennessee now, but from Memphis, it became a statewide revolution. They were going
Yes.
to Nashville and Chattanooga and outside of Knoxville, that Memphis territory. And you were talking about Macho Man. He was at Memphis at one point,
Hmm.
All these guys were there. Um, do you think so much talent has come out of Memphis? Do you think growing up on that Channel 5 with Lance Russell and Dave Brown is the reason why?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, like, there's always that perfect storm that happens. You know, uh, I there's that perfect storm, that perfect formula of everything coming together. And then like Dave Brown, Lance Russell, Jerry Lawler, Jerry Jarrett, all of them, convening together, and eventually Randy Hales coming into the picture, and running Power Pro and everything. And so, which that was really cool. Randy tried to revive Power Pro at one point in Ripley, Tennessee, and I got to do that. I got to work for that. And on one of the Jerry Lawler revivals, where he tried to revive it, I got to tag with Kevin White, and Gary White was our manager. So it was like, I grew up watching these guys. I grew up watching these guys on TV just raise all kinds of hell and get riots going in the studios and everything. And then here I am, you know, 20 years later, and I'm tagging with the guys in the ring, and I'm doing the exact same thing, and I'm getting riots going in the crowds and everything. And it's full circle. I've had a lot of full circle moments and everything, with Memphis wrestling, and with all the people who I've watched over the years and everything. Is like, I've been in the ring with Bill Dundee. I've been in the ring with Jimmy Valiant. I've been in the ring with Bobby Eaton. I've been in the ring with Ricky Morton. I mean, it's just a laundry list of the guys I watched, and it's just amazing. And it humbles me a lot of times, because I have to look back and go, I did all this and I'm not done yet. So yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Everybody's got their moment. I can stand on my front porch and look at Terry Gordy's old house. And
Hmm.
there's so many days I find myself doing that just to think about, where I fell in love with wrestling. And it's that late 70s, early 80s before the WWE expansion. I'm a
Hmm.
territory baby, and that's where I grew up. So I find
There,
it great that you still worship that, or you still like and honor that time in pro wrestling.
there was an auditorium in downtown Memphis called Ellis Auditorium, and they would
Yeah.
have wrestling matches at Ellis Auditorium. And then my grandparents went and watched the matches at Ellis Auditorium, and one of their best friends was a security guard that worked matches at the Ellis Auditorium. So yeah, it's long-standing history of Memphis wrestling and everything. So and I hate to be down on it, but I couldn't get anywhere in Memphis. I couldn't get anywhere in Memphis. And the reason why I couldn't get anywhere in Memphis is the same guys had been there for 20 years and did
Yeah,
not want to
exactly.
put the next person over. It was that whole mentality, that whole old school vet mentality, that they weren't ready to lose their spot. They weren't ready to go anywhere. And then here comes somebody fresh, and no, put him off to the side. So, it kind of soured me on wrestling for a while. And I moved to East Tennessee. And when I moved to East Tennessee, I started watching the wrestling over here and on all the indies. And, Tony Gibbons brought me in to innovate. And it renewed my passion. It literally renewed my passion. It reignited the fire in me because nobody over here wrestles like I do. Nobody over here knows what I do, knows wrestling like I do, and nobody over here can teach like I do. And I think with all of those factors wrapped into one, that's why NetPro's been so successful. It's just like Tony will tell you. He's seen a lot of wrestling trainers come through the area. A lot of promoters try to be trainers. A lot of people who have no business being trainers try to be trainers. He will tell you straight up, this is the most legit school he's ever seen. And
That's awesome.
he's behind us 100% and everything. And he uses my guys on his shows. He'll send some of his guys from Innovate over to the student showcases every now and then, and they'll get to work, some of our trainees and stuff. And so it's like a talent exchange deal, and it's been really funny lately because like Tony's looked at me a bunch of times and been like, there's no way that guy has only had 2 matches. Is that there's no way that guy's only had 4 or 5 matches. So I'm like, dude, I'm a perfectionist when it comes to training. I'm like, I'm not going to put people up. I do not believe in the trial by fire method. That worked back in the 70s, the 80s, and maybe the 90s. Okay, the trial by fire method may have worked back then. There's no reason for it to even try to work now. There's so much more to teach. There's so much more to learn if you get in here and you start rolling around and you start doing the training the way we do it. So that's the thing is like, I'm sitting here over to the side watching a guy do a drop kick right now. He hasn't even debuted yet. He's doing a drop kick. How many guys are old school, that just went out there and got beat up for 5 or 10 years.
Oh yeah.
And then they finally gave him an opportunity.
I got beat up for several. I understand.
So that was me. That was me. I didn't win it. I didn't win a match for the first 3 or 4 years. I feel like I was coming into that when the hazing started going away and the professionalism started entering into the business and everything. So like, I still got hazed. Don't make no mistake about it. I still got hazed. And then there was a certain point when I stood up for myself, and then people were like, "Oh, maybe we shouldn't push buttons on Dan anymore." So yeah, and it came about 5 years in when somebody pushed my buttons and they realized, yeah, Dan can really screw somebody up if you push the wrong button on it. They're like, Dan wants to go out and have a match. He doesn't want to kill people. Don't make Dan kill people.
Joseph, I'm going to turn it over to you, but I want to mention 2 things about the Ellis Auditorium. One, if you're watching and you want to make a movie, there's a movie to be made about Mr. Spudnik Monroe and how he ended racism in Memphis through pro wrestling. I'm telling you, if you take the time and research that, you will find the most incredible story that you've ever found. And number 2, a young musician used to come stand side stage and watch the matches at Ellis Auditorium. I mean, he was famous for not wanting to be seen. That was Mr. Elvis Presley in the 50s, and the love of wrestling is universal. So, Joseph, you take it, or I'll sit here and talk all night.
There's a rumor, okay, and it's not so much a rumor as it was a, well, I don't know if it's an urban legend or rumor, what you call it exactly, but if you were African American and you lived in Memphis back during the Sputnik Monroe era, you had 3 pictures in your house. One was Jesus, one was Martin Luther King, and the third one was Sputnik Monroe. Because he literally would not wrestle in segregated arenas. He insisted that African Americans got front row tickets if they paid for them. He insisted on it. So yeah, he changed professional wrestling and segregation in professional wrestling. He really did.
It's because he was a diamond ring wearer. Cadillac driving son of a gun before Ric Flair even knew what it was. Go ahead, Joseph. I'm going to be quiet.
Well, Dan, we've talked a little bit about everything, but I want to talk a little bit more about your school because you have so much to offer at your school. You do referee training, you do in-ring training, you do out-of-the-ring training, professionalism. You try to get everybody ready for the next steps to move up and move on somewhere. What do you think is the hardest part of your job on a day-to-day basis?
You know, that is a tough question because like I have some that, and you know that's the thing is like I have trainees at different levels, and it's hard to remember a lot of times what level they're at. So I have to ask them, you know, what's the last thing I taught you and everything. So, so like right now, I'm gonna go from one side to the other. Okay. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've got 10 trainees in here right now. Okay. Literally 10 trainees on a Thursday night before a show on a Friday night. So I've got 1, 2, 3 beginners that have not debuted. Okay. And I've got 1 that's ready to debut. I've got 2 that have just started. Okay. And 1's a girl. The rest have debuted. So now I'm trying to get all the ones that have debuted pulled up to the level of where all the ones that have been wrestling for a year or 2 are at now. So, you know, that's the thing is like there's a mix of, you know, levels here. But if you start at the bottom, you work your way to the top, you're steadily, each one's helping each other get up there. So that's my whole deal is like, if you're a level above somebody, work with them, reach down and pull them up to your level. Okay. I've gone through a lot of, you know, guys that are wrestling locally that, you know, they want to come in and they want to train. And then they set foot in here and I take them all the way back to beginner because I am a chain wrestling freak. Okay. But see, like the reason I'm a chain wrestling freak is it teaches proper footwork. It teaches the proper footwork, the proper places to put your feet, and proper places to put your balances and everything. So that's the thing. Is like when you start taking it back to the levels and everything, and you start breaking it down, and then you see how somebody walks in, they walk out differently every single time they walk out the door of here. And it's like I tell everybody in here, I was like, guarantee you, I'm going to teach you something new tonight. At least one thing. I'll teach you at least one thing new every single time you're here. And even if you've been in the business for 20 years, I may teach you something new every single time you come in here. So, you know, and I take pride in the guys that have trained with me and everything. And, you know, there's a bunch of them that, man, they've only had a couple of matches, but they're going to be superstars. I have no doubt. So, you know, it's like I always liken it to the light bulb. You know, it's like some people's light bulb are dimly lit. Some people's light bulbs are shining bright as can be because they're starting to get it. So,
well, Dan, we know that you're the training center. I'm gonna kind of put you on the spot here because there's some things that happen inside wrestling sometimes, and people need to be prepared for it. How do you train and get people ready for television?
Television's all about timing. You know, psychology, and I'll toot some of our guys' horns here because Pro Wrestling Symphony films for TV, and our guys got to go and do dark matches for TV for their TV up in Nashville last weekend, and we get there. I think that I thought we were going to have a tag match, and one of my guys bowed out, and there was another guy there that wasn't ready for a match. And 2 of our singles guys wound up happening. So they go out and I'm like, I'm just going to video this. You know, I'm going to be over to the side and I'm going to video this, you know, just to see what happens. So I video the entrances and everything. We go through the match and they go all the way to the finish and everything. 6 minutes right on the nose. Literally 6 minutes right on the nose. And you can't tell me that, they didn't get a cue to go home, but it was literally 6 minutes right on the nose when the 3 count happened. And I was back with the production guys, and I looked around and I started smiling. I was like, y'all told them to go home, didn't you? They were like, yep. It was like 6 minutes on the nose, and they gave them 6 to 8 minutes. That's exactly what they gave them. So, and they were getting ready to do the whole live show and everything, and start recording and stuff and everything. So they went out there about 1:45, had that 6-minute match, and then they went back and they prepped the rest of the show. So, that it's all about timing. It's all about psychology. How quick can you get in what you need to get in? How quick can you tell your story in 6 minutes? Can you tell a story in 15 minutes? How many times lately has a match gone over 15 minutes on TV?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So when it calls for it, can you go 30 minutes? I know I can. Like I remember specifically Bill Dundee was helping run a show over in, I believe it was, oh crap, I'm going to forget it. Maybe it was Wynn, Arkansas. But we got there that night, and me and the guy that we were riding together, Dundee comes over. He says, well, mate, you boys are going to go out there and you're going to wrestle until we tell you to go home. And we were like, okay. And he's like, and you're the first match on the card. Okay, what's going on? Well, all the heels on the show decided to ride in the same car, and they're running late.
Yeah. That happens more often than you think.
Okay, I guess we're gonna go out there, and he pretty much told us, "Yep, mate, you're gonna do a 30-minute draw." And we're like, "Okay, all right." And me and the other guy looked at each other and was like, "We can do it," because we were both two of Ken's guys that had been, cardioed all up and everything. We were ready to roll, and we went out there and we killed it for 30 minutes, and we actually had them begging for more at the end. We had 5 more minute chance. So and we went home and everything, and we got to the back, and the heels are getting dressed, and we were like, F you guys for being like, this is like, and of course we were going to follow that, so if you guys were being late, follow that.
Now we're talking about television here, and I've had a little birdie kind of in my ear, and I don't know if it's true, so I'm just going to ask you straight, directly, live in front of everybody. Little birdie told me that you were looking to get involved with better equipment so that you could help train for your kids to be more apt to be on television. Are you looking to do that?
Well, we've kind of already done it. And it's not me. I won't take credit for that. That's Tony. Tony has actually bought his own production equipment, and he has taught his whole family. And it's so funny to me because Candace works the door. His wife works the door, and she keeps the concession stand in line with his daughters. Okay, so he's got, oh, God, I'm going to get it wrong. He might have 4 girls. 4 girls.
4.
Okay, so he's got 4 girls. Okay, so he's got. His family's running the concession stand. His family's running the door, and now his family's running production. Yeah. And he's got guys that do roaming camera work and everything. He's got a live switcher that's wireless. So he's going all in with the production, And that's the thing is, like, you can do TV all you want to, but you're paying a fortune these days for somebody to edit a show and film a show. You're paying a small fortune every single time, and that's what a lot of companies are running into. They don't have the money to do it. So Tony, even before this, was editing his own show. He would get a hard copy of the show from Cody. I think Cody Green. I'm going to get the name wrong. I'm sure I am. I think it was Cody Green. Cody Green would film a lot of stuff for New Japan. Like anytime New Japan would come over to this side of the country, they'd hire Cody Green and his company, his production company. So you knew it was a good production company. And he would record everything, burn it to a disc, hand it to Tony, and Tony would full on edit every show that he put out there. So Tony's doing all the editing already. He already knows how to edit. What he didn't have was cameras and all the rest of the stuff. So, and Cody wound up not wanting to do production anymore, just cutting it straight off. So that kind of left a hole for a production guy. Well, then other production guys started coming in and everything, and then JR, I think it was JR Woods, he wound up going and getting a job over in Washington D.C. for a professional basketball team. And he does production for them now. So like, if a production guy's good, he's not going to stick around for long. He's going to actually go off and get an actual production job, and that's what happened to J.R. Woods. So so that's what the whole caveat. Tony wound up getting all this production equipment, and it's been awesome because now he wants to film Innovate, and he wants to film the student showcases. The only problem is I don't have time to edit the student showcases, and neither does he, because he's editing Innovate. So now I've got a guy that I've hired to edit the student showcase shows. So so yeah, but yeah, it's Crazy Steve's stepson. I'll say that. He's getting into production, and he's actually wanting to go to college for production, and he's still in high school right now doing film stuff. And so he's editing and making movies and stuff like that. Well, on the side, he's going to edit our student showcases for us.
Sweet.
So yeah, that's going to be a cool thing. He needed the experience, and we've got it for him. So we'll take it step by step for him and everything. So, but coming soon, NetPro Studio is going to have a YouTube channel, and all the student showcase matches are going to be on the YouTube channel. So don't have it yet, but we're working on it. So, but shout out to Tony for giving us that opportunity to get everything recorded too, because like he's been very helpful in pushing the school and pushing the shows for us too. So,
and it takes a lot of hands to make something like NetPro Studios work, and you and your family really put it together and really got it off the ground and running, and got it up in what it seemed just like a matter of months, and it's turned out to be so fruitful for you, and it's been such a great lifesaver for you. Talk about your beginnings with that.
It didn't. I'll say this: it didn't happen overnight. It was March, or no, sorry. It was New Year's Eve of 2022, because I just recently, so we could edit a video and put it together for the whole anniversary show. I went back all the way through all of my Facebook videos to 2022 when I announced on New Year's Day of 2022 that NetPro Studios was happening. We officially formed the LLC in March of 22, and we did not find a building. We did not find anything that we could rent and actually do what we wanted to do with it until I think it was November of that year. I literally signed the lease and took a trip to WrestleCade that year within like a week of each other. So, and so that, and even then we signed the lease in November. We didn't open till February because the building needed to be prepped. It needed bathrooms redone. It needed all kinds of stuff. I think we've put pictures online and everything of us spray painting the black on the walls and everything, because the paint was literally peeling off of every wall in here. So it's been a long road, getting to this point and everything. I tell a lot of people the last 4 years have been an experiment to see if my idea can be successful, and my idea has been successful.
Yes, sir.
And I am now looking to build a bigger building with better parking, better bathrooms, a better fan experience, better concession stand, better everything.
And you took it right out of my mouth. I about said the same thing that you just said. So
I want to fit 500 people in a building comfortably, and I already have the chairs to do it. I just need the space. So that's that's going to be, and that's going to happen within the next year.
And speaking about fitting 500 people into a studio comfortably, you have some great stuff coming up this weekend, I do believe. Is that correct? You have a 2-day event that's going to be taking place at Net Pro Studios LLC.
It's the two.
It's going to be the
It's the
Smoky Mountain.
2-day. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You tell us about it.
It's the 2-day Innovate Wrestling anniversary show. It's the 24th anniversary of Innovate Wrestling. So there's 2 days worth of matches happening. We're going to start tomorrow night, and we're going to be, there's a Net Pro Cup that Tony introduced. That's going to be the winner of the Net Pro Cup is going to be crowned tomorrow night. That's like a 5-way between some of Net Pro's most tenured trainees that have been here for a while. And so we're excited for that to happen. You see Andy Optimal and Axton Ray. That's going to happen, I believe, on night 2. Yep, that's for Saturday. That's a Innovate Grand Championship defense for Andy Optimal. Night 1 is, you see there, that's going to be, Nick Blackwell, who, we beat the crap out of in a cage on the Net Pro anniversary show. Net Pro, when him and CJ Knight both, we beat the crap out of. They came in here and tried to take over and make Net Pro the school of Illuminati. So, but they're going to be taking on Axton Ray and Chains, and then there you see night 2, Chains is going to be going against Ben Atkins. So yeah, there's a lot happening. There's Hall of Heroes as well. There's a lot of people going in the Hall of Heroes. Nick Hammonds, and I don't have the list in front of me. Nick Hammonds and Matt Rhodes, for sure. Matt Rhodes is a former broadcast partner of mine for SOM, as well as Innovate. Me and him have teamed up on plenty of shows for Innovate, even when Innovate was NWA Smoky Mountain. We teamed up on that. So glad to see him back, and get an award for, his time here. But I'm trying to think if I think they gave a company a Hall of Heroes award too. And I can't remember the name of the company. And then there was one other one, and I cannot remember the name, and I apologize for that. But Hall of Heroes, presentation. I don't know what night that's happening. I want to say that's probably going to happen Saturday night. But 2 straight days of wrestling here. We put combo tickets on sale. Did all of that. So he's been promoting the crap out of this one, like he does all the ones and everything. And there's a core group of diehard Innovate fans, and I love entertaining them. I love seeing them every time. We've gotten to know all of them that sit front row on the regular, and we've got our recovery resources people and everything. So I will mention our main sponsors, Recovery Resources and Bridge to Shore. We do a lot of work with them, putting on shows. We keep a back row reserved over here on the side for them, because they sponsor us, and we help them out with benefit shows and doing different things like that and everything. And we make some public appearances. National Overdose Awareness Day is a usual public appearance for us. It happens in the Covered Bridge Park in Elizabethton. Then we usually make public appearances on that and everything. So, that's a lot of things like public appearances. Is like I've gotten on a kick on that lately. Is like, if WWE can do it, why can't we?
Right, absolutely. And see, you guys are a part of the League of Ordinary Gentlemen too, the fatherhood program for Carter County Drug Prevention as well. So you guys do a lot.
We promote all their programs with them and everything. We share all their programs. We try to get eyes on everything we can, and we have a reach. I think we've gotten. I haven't checked it lately. I know we're over 2,000 followers on Facebook. So if you haven't yet, go to Facebook, follow us on Facebook, and see where we'll be next. Because anytime somebody rents a ring from me, or uses our guys, I try to promote that. So. And speaking of that, one of our guys is actually flying to Florida. Let me repeat that. He's flying to Florida. It's just like, I've never flown for a wrestling show. He's flying to Florida. And it's crazy. He's gonna be working on a lucha show in Florida. It's gonna be awesome. He's pretty stoked about it. So I'm pretty proud of him. He's our net pro heavyweight champion, and he's that way for a reason.
He's deserved it. He's earned this. He's worked every little show that he could get his hands on, that any promoter would let him be a part of. He set the ring up. He's tore the ring down. He's been there to clean up after people. I mean, clean some pretty dirty venues. I mean, really dirty venues.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's really worked hard, and he deserves this opportunity. I believe that he's going to be moving forward in the wrestling business. The more that he excels and the more that he puts into it, the better he's going to become every day.
Mm-hmm. And he I think he's gone further than he expected.
I think so too.
So it's we had some eye-opening experiences too. I sent a couple of guys down to Atlanta to do extra work for TNA when they were in Atlanta here. So they had some pretty eye-opening experiences while they were down there. So they get to see the big machine in action. So get to see the big promotions in action. When stuff like that happens, it's either you have one of two reactions. You either like, man, I really want to be here, or holy crap, this looks stressful. I don't want any part of this. So I got to be a part of that big machine more than once with WWE. I've done 2 or 3 extra spots with WWE and stuff, and I was a Rosebud. I got to catch Adam Rose as he fell off the apron, and got to do that number and everything. And I've run for my life while Big Show drove an 18-wheeler through the backstage of FedEx Forum in Memphis, and I was even just holding a cell phone in the background of a Chris Jericho vignette, and I believe it was like 2012 or 2013. So, just like little things like that and everything, and it's really cool to go and just see that whole big machine in action. So.
Howie, I'm going to turn it over to you, buddy.
Daniel, we appreciate your time. Appreciate you coming on. The night before a big weekend for you.
Yep.
Bell times for both nights.
Should be 7:30. I believe it's 7:30 for both nights. That's what our usual bell time is. It may be later on Friday. I'm not totally sure of that, but I would aim for 7:30 as bell time.
That's awesome. Like I said, we appreciate your time on a busy time.
And let me make the rundown. I can't. I'm actually on my phone with you guys right now, so I can't go through my calendar. But UCW next weekend, they've rented a cage from me. I'm going to Asheville, North Carolina. I mean, I've got all kinds of stuff in the works. I've got Innovate shows. I've got NWA JCP shows. Pro Wrestling Symphony, I won't be able to attend that for a couple of months because they've decided to move shows to Saturdays. So it's, our schedule's kind of wonky on Saturdays because of Innovate and everything else. But Urban Combat over in Asheville, North Carolina at Highwire Brewing, that's a normal one show a month deal for them. So definitely if you're in the Asheville, North Carolina area, or if you're over in Western North Carolina, come and see that, because we're about to bring our cage over to them a week from Saturday, and they're going to be having a big old cage match, and can't wait to see that one. Trying to think of, I know I'm probably missing stuff, but yeah, it's Innovate Wrestling, NWA JCP, Urban Combat. Do a lot of work with Pro Wrestling Hype. Up in Nelly's Ford, Virginia, we do ring rentals for Nelly's Ford, Virginia for them. People, I get calls for. I've gotten like 2 or 3 calls for different ring rentals today that I've added to the calendar that I can't even think about. So, it's. Be careful what you wish for, because you're gonna get it.
Bell time this weekend for Friday and Saturday is 7:30. What's the ticket prices?
I want to say $25 for front row, $15 for general admission if he's kept the prices the same, which I'm pretty sure he does. A little bit more for online tickets. He does have the link on the Innovate Facebook page for the online tickets. So all you got to do is just go over there and hit the online ticket link for that. But yeah, doors are usually 6:30, and then show starts at 7:30.
Awesome. Sounds great.
And I want to say this too. For advanced ticket holders, Tony is doing a Q&A with himself at 5 o'clock on Saturday. So that's a new thing. That's a new thing he's trying out. So if you have advanced tickets, you're going to get in the door early on Saturday at 5 o'clock, and you're going to be able to do a Q&A with Tony.
Speaking of Tony, a lot of people can say what they want to about AEW and Tony Khan, but he is kind of one of the innovators as far as having the Q&As after some of the shows to kind of spread around to everybody else. And that's something that I myself really personally enjoyed.
It's a different dichotomy and everything, and I don't know if I like the dirt sheets being involved so much. As like them acting like the dirt sheets are press guys. Some of them are kind of, I don't know. It's just my opinion.
So, Randy, you have anything before we get out here?
No, I just went into my Waffle House mode right now. I've done changed phone positions, laying back. Thank you, Dan Jones, for spending some time with us.
Waffle House.
Yeah, I'm fixing to ask you.
Chicken melt bowl, no onions, scrambled eggs in the bowl, and a side of chicken sausage.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yeah, I was fixing to ask you your go-to Waffle House meal. So, for the ones that are watching, here's the place for the Innovate Wrestling Facebook, www.facebook.com, Innovate Wrestling. And so every wrestling show, we have a sponsor, and our sponsor is
ShopBryantHill.com, where you can get all the luxury skincare, men's care, and women's care that you need. And as you see right here, guys, it's built with everything else has failed. He has built something when everything else has failed for your skin. He's made it work for you. He has soaps. He has beard oils. He has all sorts of products for you. And brand new lines are coming for him in the men's grooming section. He's got Doc Gallows beard care that's going to be out there. Go ahead and get you a big package today, $140.99 plus tax. And it includes that autograph photo directly. It gets you your beard care. It gets you your pomade oil. It gets you all of it for that nice $140.99. Go ahead and have you some of that today, and you can get it all at ShopBryantHill.com.
Hey, if you never thought that Gallows would make you beautiful, look at me. Look,
we'd rather not look at you,
testimonial.
Hey, look at that face. You can't grow hair. You can't grow hair, but breast. All Doc Gallows.
It works 99 out of 100 times. Unfortunately, that's the one time it doesn't work.
Hey.
Hey, they've got some new lines that are coming out. They've got a DDP line that's coming out. Diamond Dallas Page is going to have his own line that's going to be coming out. And Buff Bagwell is soon to have his own line coming out as well. So we'll be keeping you guys up to par on that as soon as everything gets released. And we're allowed to announce more on that.
There's rumors of a Randall Cunningham line, but it involves a napkin and grease.
So, Dan, before I let you go, two more things. One question I ask everyone before you hit the ring: is there any rituals or superstitions that you got to do?
I always wear 2 pairs of socks under my wrestling boots. It's a superstition thing, and I've had the same wrestling boots for 17 years. I haven't changed my wrestling boots. So that's about the only superstition thing that I get. The rest is just muscle memory stuff that happens involuntary.
His wrestling boots are older than two marriages of mine. So that's all I got to say.
I got one last question before we go. Speaking of gear, where do you send your kids so they don't look like they're all page number 5 off High Spots?
There's 2 gear makers that I send my kids to. I send them to Soda Hendricks. Soda is a NWA talent out of Texas. who makes his own gear. He makes the gear that he comes to the ring with. But he has made at least 3 people's gear in here. Habibi's gear, Marquise Williams gear, and I believe CJ Knight just ordered some gear from him. No. I'm sorry. CJ Knight ordered the gear from the other person that I recommend, which is Tyler Thorne, Pro Wrestling Wear. He's actually made gear for WWE stars as well as AEW. He's the main gear maker for AEW. So Pro Wrestling Wear, Facebook, you can hit them up. Be patient. You may not get them. But Soda Hendricks is a go-to guy for me. Now, you will pay for it. It is expensive. But it is good, solid gear, and it will last. And it's that some of those guys guarantee their stuff for a year or two too. So there's guarantees on the gear that you get.
You can usually find Soda linked on River City Media too. He'll pop up on our page every now and then with his gear. I don't know Tyler Thorne, but if you recommend him, I'm going to start sharing his stuff too. So
Tyler's been a good friend of the school as well. I send people to him a lot whenever he has openings. He'll actually put on Facebook that he has openings where he can make people gear if he's not busy. If he needs something to do. So if there's a lull in the action at AEW, sometimes he's at TNA as well, I believe. But if there's a lull in the action and he's not doing anything, he'll put it on Facebook that he has openings to make gear if anybody needs some gear made. So it's good to follow guys like that and just say, hey, I need something, and do it that way. But Soda will eventually put out stuff online too, on Facebook or social media, that he's having sales as well because he's got extra fabric or something. So,
and if you want to look like Randall Cunningham, it's Amazon.com, fat and large size to look like this.
Extra large adult diapers is what
that's
it is.
Like men's big and tall section.
We're past big and tall. We're just fat and broad.
But just mostly big.
Yeah. Once I topped 340 pounds the other day, I've started my own category of I'm fat.
And Dan Jones, we appreciate you coming on. One last thing, any shout outs you'd like to give to anybody before we let you go?
We'll just obviously shout out to Tony and Candace and all of the Innovate crew for working with us over the past 3-4 years now. Shout out to my wife for always being supportive of this. So 17, 18 years ago was when she told me I needed to go and get this out of my system. And here we are 17 years later, and I haven't got it out of my system yet.
Same age as the boots.
So, yeah. Shout out to my wife Erica. Shout out to my kids Violet and Will. Shout out to my parents Matt and Linda. Shout out to all the guys over here training and killing it tonight. I've been watching them, holler and scream and bump around for a while now and everything. And I can't wait to see what the future holds for us.
Yeah, it seemed like during the show you had one of them that was working on selling, because we could hear them in the background pretty good.
Yeah. It was so funny when we first opened up and everything. The neighbors had to get used to the sound of the ring, and they would come by and they would like walk dogs by and like peek in the windows and everything and try to figure out what the hell was going on in here. And so at one point they were like, "What are y'all building in here?" Beating and banging around. What the hell y'all building in here? Like, oh no, we're pro wrestling training. I was like, oh, okay.
That's funny. Joseph makes the same sound at a buffet.
I do. That's very true.
You should have told him he was building the future of wrestling in there.
That's right.
So Daniel Jones, we appreciate your time, and
come back again.
Yes,
we got to throw that out.
I'm available anytime. Y'all holler at me. And well, I won't say anytime. We can schedule it.
We'll do that.
anytime I look at my calendar and I'm open. Let me put it that way.
I got you. So for the founder, QB1, Ronald Cunningham, for the Rabid Beaver, Joseph Hughes. I'm the host, Howard Chaney, and our special guest tonight is the owner and head coach, Net Pro Studios, Dan Jones. Go out and support them this weekend at their 2-night event that's coming up. Bell time at 7:30. Doors open at 6:30, and go out and watch some great wrestling.